Greetings folks, it's been a while since my last video, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so today we're having a look on a product that I reviewed for the first time last year actually. Though now that I have spent a whole year with it, I think I can conclusively get my thoughts across regarding the 2017 budget iPad. Alright, so I do understand that between the period that I actually reviewed the 2017 iPad till this very day, there has been the release of the 2018 budget iPad. Though the only major difference between the two is the support for the Apple Pencil and actually, the change of processors. On the 2017 model you have the A9 processor, in contrast with the new model, the 2018 one, which includes the A10 processor, but it's gonna be relatively the same, and while for some it may be a very important feature that the new iPad supports the Apple Pencil, for some others they may not even knew that it existed as a feature. So yeah, at this point it is needless to say that everything said in this review does apply to the 2018 iPad, disregarding the A10 processor on the new iPad and the support for the Apple Pencil. Having cleared this all up, the 2017 iPad has been a great device for me for the last year that I've used it. It had no hiccups, it was fast and smooth, and that's probably due to the A9 processor in it. Despite its age, the A9 processor from Apple still holds up very well to any mobile app that you can throw at it. Yeah, there will be some problems if you try to do some 4K video editing, or if you play PUBG, it may not be the best experience, but for the vast majority of the mobile apps out there in the App Store, you will have no problem whatsoever with this iPad. And in terms of performance, it is pretty good, and I've thrown some tests ranging from YouTube binge watching to even 1080p video editing on LumaFusion to it, and it had no problems whatsoever. Now, speaking of YouTube binge watching, we have to talk about battery life, and that's a major consideration when buying a tablet, because the battery life is one of the aspects that will most affect your experience with the product. Most tablets are media consumption devices, and that means that you will probably use them continuously for a long time before just putting them aside. Now, the 2017 iPad doesn't have the best battery life out there, but for its screen size, which is 9.7 inches, and for the nearly 9,000 mAh cell that it has in it, 5 to 6 hours of screen on time that I am getting with Bluetooth enabled, because that's something that I want to note. I always have the Bluetooth enabled just because I use Bluetooth headphones very frequently, so that means that obviously Bluetooth affects battery life. So yeah, with Bluetooth enabled I get 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, and that equals to 2 days of usage, because I do not use my iPad more than 3 hours a day usually, so it's an average battery life for a tablet. Alright, so the main event here, frankly, is the LCD display on the front, because you're probably using your iPad to consume media, and that means that a pretty good screen is essential. Now, this 9.7 inch screen, I repeat myself, which has a resolution, a very weird Apple resolution of 1536 by 2048 pixels, is nearly 1440p territory, but what happens is in YouTube actually you cannot play back 1440p video. So what that means is it is actually a screen that is mostly 1080p. So yeah, it's a pretty good screen. I wished it had some more brightness to it, you know, because when I use it outdoors, and I mean I don't usually use it outdoors, you know, or in a bench or, you know, in a park or whatever. I just use it in the car. When I'm in the car, I usually, you know, play some games, or I do some video editing even maybe, or some photo editing. And what's happening is this brightness, the maximum brightness level of the screen isn't really satisfying in terms of, you know, being able to see the screen in direct sunlight. So yeah, it's kind of a pity that it isn't as bright of a screen as it could be, but yeah, that's a thing to note. Moving on, I will spend virtually no time on the two cameras that this iPad does feature. And that's because, simply put, they are bad. They are absolutely terrible. And what do I mean by that? This iPad has a 12 megapixel shooter on the back, which can shoot 1080p video, and I don't know, a 1.2 megapixel shooter at front, which can shoot 720p video. These, you know, these characteristics, these features seem okay, you know, a 12 megapixel shooter on the back, it seems alright, but it's not. The sharpness of the photos that you could get with this iPad is like non-existent. There's no sharpness, it's just a smooth combination of pixels, and I don't know if that's in order to reduce noise, but it's terrible. It cannot, these photos cannot be used even on Instagram. They are pretty soft, and I really wouldn't recommend using the iPad to take photos because they're just simply put terrible. So yeah, I would not buy this iPad for getting some crispy photos, or even photos in any sense. So yeah, that was about the camera. Now, there's also a fingerprint sensor on the iPad, and that's another thing that I didn't really like about this iPad. It's the fact that it's a first generation Touch ID sensor. Now, it's not that it's bad, it's really alright, you know. It does recognize my finger like 9 out of 10 times, and it's relatively fast, you know. It does take like 0.5 seconds to recognize my finger, and you know, in order to get to the home screen, it probably takes 1 second, but it doesn't really matter because it's an iPad. It's not my phone that I wanted, like, you know, really quick. But yeah, it was alright, but I think it's cheap from Apple's perspective to just put a fingerprint sensor one generation older than to put a second generation fingerprint scanner onto this iPad. It just seems to me that Apple's chipping out on this, and I don't know, you can tell me your opinion down below, but yeah, I mean, even for 330 euros that this little iPad costed when it first came out, it really is tipping out for me, in my opinion. Ending this review, I will talk about Apple's software, namely iOS. Now, I generally dislike iOS on a phone, you know. I don't really like iPhones, but on a tablet, it's really a very good OS, maybe the perfect OS, and that's because it's what we say, it just works, you know, it just works. Whatever you throw at it, you know, any application, you know, every time you try to unlock it, or there's no stuttering, there are no issues that are major, you know. So it's a really good OS for the iPad. It's really simple to use, and because it's not one's main device, you know, like their phone that they want to personalize and customize a lot, it's just an iPad, a secondary device. That means that having no personalization, like to to the fullest extent, because you have some degree of personalization. It's not a major issue. You just want to use your iPad, to watch some YouTube video or to listen to music on Spotify, or I don't know, browse the web. It's just that. So there is no particular caveat in iOS, at least on the iPad. It seems to me like it's a really good OS for a tablet, and yeah, that's my opinion. I mean, if you're a fan of Android and you want a tablet, it's no bad to try an iPad. It's really good, and for the price, I mean, if we're talking about the price, that it is like, I think now it has gone down to 300 euros from third-party retailers. It's a really good deal, because if you think about it, like, the Android side doesn't have really good tablets, and this thing, the 2018 version does even have support for Apple Pencil, which is a really good stylus for a tablet. And frankly, the 2017 iPad is still a great deal. It has an A9 processor, it has a very good display, and really, it's an iPad. It will work. It will most probably work for your situation. Now, there are caveats like not being able to transfer video to the iPad directly without buying expensive dongles, and like there are other caveats like no customization that is really significant, or not being able to like use your iPad as a display for anything, because the iOS operating system is just so locked up by Apple. But yeah, I mean, if you want to do these things, you will go to an Android tablet de facto. You will just not think about it. But you can use the iPad for anything else, for very simple things. So if you want to do simple things with your iPad, go ahead and mount it. Now, I was not fully satisfied with the iPad just because of the reasons that I just talked to you about. Not being able to just do things that I deem, very simple, as in transferring videos from my camera to the iPad. It just needs a 30 euro dongle, and I'm not gonna buy it. But yeah, that's the Apple way of living. You just pay a lot of money for anything. So yeah, this was a review of the iPad. Thank you very much for watching. It's the second review, actually, to be honest here. Thank you very much for watching this review of the 2017 iPad, actually, but it does apply to the 2018 iPad, as I said before. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.